Hello and welcome to the next video of the LEC 2025 previews. We're covering BDS, the team that I have 8th going into the season, but I'm pretty sure that is the floor. Two new players to the team, Sheo and Lebrav are out, 113 and Perry are in. So, last 3 years, third, 10th. Sorry, they're ranked 7th, not 8th, but third, and 10th in championship points. Understanding last year they did not get to Worlds, and Mad Lions did take that third spot, but over the entire year, BDS had the third most championship points. Now, actually, there are 3 changes because of relevance in top lane. This is the first video of this recording session. So, Relevant played with SK last year and ranked pretty well. He was 3rd in the LEC statistically, had a 3 KDA, 51.9 KP, 7.9 CS per minute, all pretty standard. The KP a little lower than counterparts, also with 7.9 CS, but where he comes through is the carry potential. So on SK, he offered a 2.7 share differential, which meant he dealt 2.7% more of his team's damage than he received in gold, ranking very high amongst top laners across all of Tier 1. Then had a 1.44 damage divided by gold, which is also very high. So just a carry-oriented player at his best at this point in his career. Before, I would say that he was more of a weak side at best. He's gotten better. As his career has went along, he's gotten better. He's now 23 years old, and he's coming into his own as an upper half LEC top laner. 235 gold ahead of 15 minutes. 3.06 vision efficiency, which is also very good, over 3. There are a lot of top laners below that. 17 champions, 52 games. Renekton, Gnar, and Rumble, 56% of his champion usage. Hero is the backup. Hero is a young player, not a lot of experience, joining Team BDS's academy team in LFL. And talk about a nasty player, man. I mean, 2.1 KDA, 60.4 KP, 7.8 CS per minute. Guy goes in and his KDA is rough. Like, he goes in, deals his damage, and dies, essentially. Because we see a 1.8 share differential. Sorry, 6.7 share differential. That's very high for a top laner. That is higher than anyone in Tier 1. I would assume, I don't think there's anyone even above 4. So that just goes to show you just how dominant this player was in ERLs last season. Dealing a 1.8 ROI is insane for a top laner. That is higher than almost everybody across the board. Down 15 gold at 15 minutes, which tells me he's not ahead in the early game. He just goes in, gets his damage in, and dies. 2.55 vision efficiency, 16 champions, 27 games. That's an interest. I mean, I usually gloss over the academy players, but that stat line is just a really interesting one. 113 returning to the LEC. A couple of years ago, he played with Astralis, and it was the year that Yike came in and Sheo as well, and he was overlooked. But I thought he did pretty damn well given the circumstances. He had no business being there. He was not ready. He took an opportunity, and unfortunately, some people condemn him for that opportunity, hold him accountable for that. Astralis team, and he's only 20 years old still, so he is still younger than when Yike and Sheo made their debuts in 2022, which is pretty incredible to think. 3.4 KDA, 76.2 KP, 5.5 CS per minute. Low farm, very active. Over 3 out of every 4 kills. Expected to be very active on this team, getting around the rift. Negative 1.6 share differential and a 1.37 ROI last year. So, dealing a good amount of damage, a high amount of damage to be quite frank, because he doesn't take a lot of resources. So when he was, in a fight, he did do work, even with the limited gold he received. Up 140 gold at 15 minutes, 4.46 vision score per ward placed, 15 champions, 60 games, 20 years old, Sejuani, Maokai, Viego, just over half of his champion pool. Now, you see he's unranked. This is why I said BDS are ranked 7th as the floor. Because 113, I believe, is better than 8th, which is where he's technically ranked because of not playing, and there are 3 rookies going into the season. And Paris in the support role. Is ranked, I think, 8th or ninth. I know there's definitely Stend. I keep forgetting if there's another rookie in the support role going into this season. So I think that kid's obviously really good. We'll talk about him in a minute. So I think that they're going to be better than 7th. Fair to say. Schlatan is behind 113. Schlatan has played in the LEC as well. 3.3 KDA, 70.1 KP, 6 CS per minute. Negative 2.6 share differential. Pretty good. Both junglers are very efficient for their teams. 1.24 ROI. Gets ahead in the laning phase. 340 gold ahead. Really great pathing. 3.17 vision efficiency. That's pretty bad for a jungler. So he's getting farm and getting resources in the early game, but his vision placement is poor. 13 champions in 74 games. A player that took a really big step back last year was Nuke, in my opinion. Ranked 7th going into this season in his role. I would say in 2023 summer and in season finals, he was one of the best LEC mids. He was performing exceptionally well. That meta fit him to a T. But this past season, he just left a lot to be desired. 3.6 KDA, a 63 1 KP, 9 CS per minute, so 3 out of every 5 kills was his involvement. For a mid laner, okay, well, we see players with that much, but also way more farm, maybe half a CS more. And you say, oh, it's just half a CS. Well, I mean, hell, take that over 40 minutes of a game, take that over an entire season. That's a lot of farm, right? So there's that, and just not involved. You got to do one or the other. You can't just sit on our hands and do nothing. 5.6 share differential, 1.53 ROI. The 5.6 share differential does lead this team. This team does have more of a carry threat to it, for sure, because of relevance. 2.7 in top lane actually really changes things. What do we have here? 1.53 ROI, down 115 gold at 15 minutes, 3.06 vision efficiency, 14 champions, 81 games. Like I said, ranked 7th, is still 22 years old. Azir, Corki, Talia, 56% of his champion pool. Something else to note about this team. We just talked about a team that had 30%, 40% in their champion usage. This squad, not so much. The top side of the rift, very predictable with their champion picks last season, and that could bode poorly for them going into this year. Toffee, 4.5 KDA, 64.6 KP, 9.4 CS per minute. See, that's what happened. See, much more farm. Lower level of play, but still found resources. 6.5 share differential, 1.82 ROI. This Team BDS Academy team in LFL is going to be a heavyweight squad when it comes to throwing punches, man. This is going to be a serious brawly team. 505 gold ahead. If he can follow that up this season, I really do believe people are going to have to give him a look in LEC for 2026. You do not have a 500 gold lead at 15 minutes, even in a lower tier of play, and not deserve an opportunity, because every game there's an even state, there's a game where he's up 1,000 gold, and that shows he's better than this competition. 2.85 vision efficiency, 12 champions, 36 games. Ice at 80 carry. In my opinion, a safe imported player. So he's going to be solid. He's going to do well in team fights. Root, good example. But also, I don't think he's going to really, well, less than, I guess. Root really doesn't do this. But Ice really didn't win games last season, in my opinion. 5.5 KDA, 68.3 KP, 10.1 CS per minute. Great farm. He's ranked 4th going into this season, but a 3.6 share differential and a 1.4 ROI. He got less out of his gold in terms of damage than Irrelevant did last season. That's not supposed to happen. That's not the sign of a good AD carry. Attack, damage, carry. I don't even care. APC, ability, power, carry. I don't. You got to deal damage. That's your job. You can be weak side. That's fine. We accept he's weak side, but then don't put him in that conversation for best LEC AD carry, because once you're on the weak side, like, you do your job and you can do it great. Don't get me wrong, but if you can't offer that carry threat, you're offering half the game. It's just like a facilitator top. If they can't carry, if they don't have that threat, okay, you're a great facilitator top, but you're never going to be first because there's somebody that can do both. So that's a thing. In terms of share differential, I mean, 9.2, 11.9 between the three carry roles in terms of share differential. And then when we look at the supportive roles, it's only, 7.9. So we offer, a 4% positive share differential on this team. There's a lot of carry threat. These players, I mean, in terms of what their team gave them across the board, very effective. Now, will 113 be able to repeat what he did last year at a lower level of play? I doubt it. I don't think he's going to be a negative 1.6 because that would be extremely high relative to all the other tier 1 junglers last season. So maybe the 4%, most of it comes from him. You know, maybe he drops to negative 4% or something, and then irrelevant isn't quite as disgusting as he was last year in terms of share, carry threat. And then Ice, who knows, maybe he improves a bit. I said, I still think this team's better than 7th, though, just because of where these players are at. 50 gold ahead, so what? Doing the math there, 210 gold, 550 gold, 785. I mean, this team is up 670 gold at 15 minutes if 113 and Paris end up doing what they did. 3 vision efficiency, 15 champions, 81 games, 4th in his role, 23 years old. Ice played Zeri, Ashe, and Varus for 44% of his games played. That's good. That's solid. PVEC is the backup. PVEC might be like one of the older players in the whole org. It's something. 4.4 KDA, 71 1 KP, 9.5 CS per minute, 4.3 share differential, and another 1.8 ROI. 3 players on this Team BDS Academy team's I do not want to face them. 660 gold ahead at 15 minutes. 3.11 vision efficiency. 14 champions, 62 games. Wow. Paris, rookie, could be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year already. From what I understand, he was one of the best ERL players last season. You know, as a support, it definitely, statistically, it's hard to kind of scout players like that. But his champion pool is representative of how strong he is. His pike play is outstanding. And he is going to be a menace. He certainly is. 3.7 KDA, 72 KP, negative 5.2 share differential, and a 0.9 ROI. 0.9 for a support. Very high, aggressive, deals damage. And that's going to be, maybe that revitalizes Ice. Maybe that allows Ice to shine a bit more. And they can be more aggressive in the 2v2. 160 gold ahead. 2.1 vision efficiency. That's very good as well. Utilizes his opportunities to find enemy champions. 20 champions in 89 games. 21 years old. Nautilus Rel Leona. 44% of his games played. Murdas is the last player on here. 2.2 KDA, 70 KP, negative 6 share differential, 0.73 ROI, all very standard. 65 gold ahead, 2.07 vision efficiency. Looking even at, looking at this Team BDS Academy roster, 845, 1505, 1570. 1555. This team might be had 1500 gold at 15 minutes on average if all the players repeat how they did in the laning phase last year. Wow. So Striker is a coach. He's been the coach of BDS the last 2 seasons. In best of ones, he's 36-18 for a 67% win rate. That's pretty damn good. Playoffs, 41-46 for a 47% win rate. And then internationally at Worlds 2023, he won 11-8 if you count the Golden Guardians games for a 58% win rate. So, pretty good coach. Did well in LFL prior to his opportunity on BDS, and I expect him to continue that. This roster, like I said, I think 7th is the floor. Could it be 4th or 5th or whatever? I certainly believe so. I'm not the type that's going to say, oh, they're going to do this in winter, because winter really doesn't matter. It's Fearless, and until Worlds has Fearless in it, what does it matter how the team does now versus how I think they're going to do in October. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.